Hey, everybody, and
welcome back to For the Booze. For the Booze.
Oh, that was funny.
I've heard you do it a million times.
I know.
So we're back.
We are.
And oddly recording on a Sunday evening.
Yep, the
So
day
crazy.
before this comes out.
That's right. It's not even, it's like, that's me. I forgot to turn my phone down again.
Oh.
It is Sunday because, as a lot of the listeners probably already know, Megan has been on the road. She only came home for the weekend.
Yes.
And we've been spending some time doing some family stuff.
I got back Friday, so 2 days ago at like 1 in the morning.
It was a very late night.
Yeah. It's been a lot, but we've definitely enjoyed ourselves. We've gone on many fall scenic trips and hiking and just spending some good quality time together with us and the kiddos.
And the crazy thing is you leave again tomorrow.
I do.
For even longer.
I do.
So I'm going to be alone again.
Yeah, 3 weeks is a long time.
Shout out to the two people. I wish I would have looked up your name beforehand for telling me happy birthday on YouTube, though.
Yay!
I appreciate you guys.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so exciting.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
It was very exciting to see. So we're a little unprepared. I'm not going to lie.
It's a little last minute.
We do have a topic, though. I mean, we're not just coming in here blind. We do have a topic, and I remember jokingly saying, I think last episode, about we should just put one of these episodes out unedited.
Well,
and here we are.
Here it is.
And here we go. I mean, we're going to do an unedited episode for once, and it's probably going to be a train wreck, but we'll see what happens. But, we had decided pretty much early on what this episode was going to be about. Mm-hmm. We were going to do an episode about a haunted painting. And while that was all fine and good, there's a lot more than one haunted painting. Oh. So I found a bunch of them that we're going to talk about individually. Some of them are going to be shorter. Some of them are going to have more information. Mm-hmm. But I thought we would kind of do all of these, even, just pick them apart a little bit and see which ones we think might actually hold some kind of, truth to it.
Nice. I like that.
So so instead of a specific object, we're doing haunted paintings.
Plural.
But we are going to end on the one that this episode inspired.
Yay.
So that's what we're doing.
The one that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. Well, it's super creepy.
It is. We went upstairs after that episode and we looked this painting up.
It's weird.
We both just kind of looked at each other and we went, why?
It's
like, why would someone paint that?
It's super weird. It's super weird. We'll get to why it's weird. But, I mean, we'll get to that. No listener stories again.
Boo.
So maybe the day of the listener story is just gone.
Well, I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It's not my favorite either.
I thoroughly enjoyed them when we got them.
Oh, yeah.
And I would still love to have them.
So would I. So if you're out there, I don't know, send them in. We still want to read them.
Please.
But what do you say we do our first one?
Yay. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Let me put my glasses on.
You actually brought them for once?
I did.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm getting blind. This one is called Portrait of Bernardo de Galvez. Now, I'm going to do a little quick, who this guy is, because I'm not very smart, and I didn't know who he was. He was a career soldier since the age of 16. Galvez was a veteran of several wars across Europe, the Americas, and North Africa. While governor of Louisiana, he supported the colonists and their French allies in the American Revolutionary War, helping facilitate vital supply lines and frustrate British operations in the Gulf Coast. Galvez achieved several victories on the battlefield, most notably conquering West Florida and eliminating the British naval presence in the Gulf. Not the president, the presence. Mm-hmm. The campaign led to the formal return of all of Florida to Spain in the Treaty of Paris, which he played a role in drafting. Galvez's actions aided the American war effort and made him a hero to both Spain and the newly independent United States. The U.S. Congress endeavored to hang his portrait in the Capitol, finally doing so in 2014. He was granted many titles and honors by the Spanish government, which in 1783 appointed him viceroy of one of its most valuable territories, New Spain, succeeding his father, Mateus de Galvez y Gallardo. He served until his death from typhus.
Oh.
Sounds lovely.
That,
Now, while somewhat forgotten in the United States, Galvez remains in high esteem among many Americans, particularly in southern and western states that once formed part of Spain's North American territory. Galvez Day is celebrated as a local holiday in Pensacola, and several places bear his name, including Galveston, Texas, and Galvez, Louisiana. And in 2014, Galvez became one of only 8 people to have been awarded honorary U.S. citizenship.
wow. That's super interesting.
It's crazy. I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
No, but the story of his painting it's a little shorter, but let's see what they say. Now, the painting of the Spanish general Bernardo de Galvez at the end of a hallway in a Hotel Galvez in Galveston, Texas, is said to have supernatural influence over photographs taken of it. Sounds very reminiscent of Robert the Doll.
Yeah.
Some claim to see a skull in flash photography of the painting, and according to local folklore, visitors must politely ask permission of the ghost to take a picture of the portrait. Or else the photo will be ruined upon development.
Whoa. It definitely reminiscent of Robert the Doll.
Sounds just like Robert the
yeah.
Doll. I mean, it's a fun story.
Nice.
Right? It's a fun story. It's not a lot to that one.
Yeah.
You know, normally there would be some account, but I think I gave Robert the Doll the benefit of the doubt. I can't even remember now, honestly. Robert, I'm sorry for talking about you again on the internet. I think it's a fun story, though. I don't think there's a whole lot to it other than a good story. Like maybe some people, maybe it could be where it's hung, you know, maybe the light shines on it weird.
Reflections and things like that.
I mean, something.
I don't know how I'd feel about getting a picture back that had a skull in it that definitely wasn't there when I was looking at it.
Well, okay. It's all right. So my problem with this is this. Normally when you hear of these stories, there's more to it. Like, it's not just your picture comes out undeveloped. What kind of haunting is that?
Yeah.
It's like your car breaks down, or somebody dies, or you die, or you get sick, or your house gets, burnt down in a fire.
More like a curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, so his haunting abilities are to undevelop your picture. I mean, I'll be honest, this sounds pretty lame.
Yeah.
And if that is the work of supernatural powers, then he needs to do better.
God, step up your game, Ghost.
Yeah, Bernardo de Galvez. I mean, you were clearly a very, notable person in history. I don't know. I think he's really underdoing himself here.
Yeah, agreed.
So for me on that one, I'm gonna have to. It's a fun story, but I think it's just a story.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that.
There's just not much to it,
No.
I need more. You want to make me a believer? I need Michael Bay Transformers level CGI. That's what I'm here for. Now, the next one is a painting called "Man Proposes, God Disposes."
Ooh.
Now, this is a painting by Edwin Landseer, which I have no idea who he is. And he's had a pretty long life. Landseer was born in London, the son of the engraver John Landseer, A-R-A, I have no idea what that is, and Jane Potts. He was something of a prodigy whose artistic talents were recognized early on. He studied under several artists, including his father and the history painter Benjamin Robert Hayden, who encouraged the young Landseer to perform dissections in order to fully understand animal musculature and skeletal structure. I should probably put my glasses back on.
Yeah, probably.
Landseer's life was entwined with the Royal Academy. At the age of just 13 in 1815, he exhibited works there as an honorary exhibitor. He was elected as an associate at the minimum age of 24 and an academician. An academician. Is that a word?
I don't know.
Academician. I don't know. 5 years later in 1831. Feel free to roast me, folks. He was an acquaintance of Charles Robert Leslie, who described him as, quote, a curly-headed youngster, dividing his time between Polito's wild beasts at Exeter Change and the Royal Academy schools. Now, they also visited Scotland together in 1824, which had a great effect upon Landseer. In 1823, Landseer was commissioned to paint a portrait of Georgiana Russell, Duchess of Bedford. Despite her being 20 years older than he was, they began an affair. Bow, chicken, bow, wow. Wow, wow. Nice. He was knighted in 1850, and although elected to be president of the Royal Academy in 1866, he declined the invitation. In his late 30s, Landseer suffered what is now believed to be a substantial nervous breakdown, and for the rest of his life was troubled by recurring bouts of melancholy, hypochondria, and depression, often aggravated by alcohol and drug use. In the last few years of his life, Landseer's mental stability was problematic, and at the request of his family, he was declared insane in July 1872.
Oh, wow. So they just like, yep, loony bin for you, buddy.
Well, you know, it gives, it paints a nice portrait of him, if you will. Now,
and go figure, drugs and alcohol lead to worsening depression.
I would have never guessed.
Oh.
Never seen that happen before. Now, Edwin Landseer's 1864 painting, Man Proposes, God Disposes, is believed to be haunted, and a bad omen at that. According to urban myth, a student of Royal Holloway College once committed suicide during exams by stabbing a pencil into their eye, writing, quote, "The polar bears made me do it," on their exam paper.
Okay.
There is, however, no university record of a death in the picture galley. Another legend among students dating back to at least the 1960s is that anyone sitting in front of the painting during an exam will fail it. This has led to teachers covering the painting with a Union Jack when student examinations are ongoing. This is better.
Okay.
But the fact that there's really no record of this happening is a bit problematic in the fact that we're trying to find something here.
Right. I get that. And, you know, when they start throwing around the word legend, it makes me question things
and
a
myth.
lot.
Myth is a...
Myths and legends. Like, I want to know a factual story, a factual something that happened.
Well, the thing is like with a lot of those kinds of stories, it's really hard, especially all the way back then, to find factual records of stuff.
Right. Yeah, because that was a really long time ago.
It was a really long time ago. But they would still, like, it would be something, I guess, more substantial than a myth if somebody did that.
Right.
I mean, somebody's got to remember some kid stabbing out his own eyeball saying, "The polar bears made me do it."
Yeah, right? And that I think that would definitely maybe be in the school records or something.
It's pretty intense.
I mean, I know record keeping wasn't what it was now, but
no,
like that's a big thing.
And you also have to wonder: is it something they left out to keep the prestige going of the college? You know?
Yeah, good thought. I like that.
I think with this one, I'm still going to say no. But man, what a super metal story.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no. I think it could be a good thing. Like a good story to build on or to know more about if there was a way. But I think I'm going to say no based on the myths and legends.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, because there's just not enough.
There is not.
Now, the next story is about a man named Juan Luna. It's a really cool name.
Yeah, that is a really cool name.
Juan Luna de San Pedro y Novicio Arqueta. That is quite a name.
That's a lot.
That's quite a name. October 23rd, 1857 to December 7th, 1899, was a Filipino painter, sculptor, and a political activist of the Philippine Revolution during the late 19th century, and he became one of the first recognized Philippine artists. His winning of the gold medal in the 1884 Madrid Exposition of Fine Arts, along with the silver win of fellow Filipino painter Felix Resurreccion Hidalgo, prompted a celebration which was a significant highlight in the memoirs of members of the propaganda movement, with the fellow ilustrados toasting the two painters' good health and the brotherhood between Spain and the Philippines. Well regarded for work done in the manner of European academies of his time, Luna painted literally and historical scenes, some with an underscore of political commentary. His allegorical works were inspired by classical balance and often showed figures in theatrical poses. Now, he painted a picture called Minovia. Now, legend says this undated portrait by Juan Luna, also known as Portrait of a Lady, is of the artist's wife, Paz Pardo de Tavera, who Juan Luna murdered. Oh, I thought I said married. He murdered.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Okay.
All right.
Murdered. Murder. Now, according to the legend, the painting is now possessed by the spirit of Paz, who brings misfortune upon its owners. Past owners have died in car crashes, been forced into bankruptcy, and experienced miscarriages, among other reported sorrows. During the opening night of a 1987 exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the spotlight bulb over the painting just exploded.
Oh.
Now, the woman depicted in the painting is believed to be Angela Duché, a favorite model of the painter who was neither married to nor murdered by him.
Okay.
So this one's different.
Yeah.
This one has a lot more reported bad things going on, but then again, the legend of it being his wife is also said to be not true.
I think this leads more into, for me at least, like what we talked about a few episodes ago, like the meaning of something to someone and that, attachment of a spirit. And I'm not saying it is for sure. Like, I definitely need some more background on it, but I do get thrown off by the legend that that was his wife. Wife or not, if it's the person that he murdered, I could definitely see that being a thing.
I mean, that's a crazy claim to be. I don't know. I really don't know. Because there's somebody else with an actual name that this is believed to be, Angela Duché. So it would be interesting to find out if there was ever any fact brought to that,
Yeah.
Because even if it was, it's not saying that there couldn't be something tied to this painting. But this is the first one that has actual, like, bad stuff attached to it.
Bankruptcy and car crashes. And, yeah, like, that's a lot of stuff to tie to something.
Yeah.
So what do you say, babe?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
It is.
I'm going to say there could be something to it.
Okay.
I'm going to, if it was just something, I don't know, silly, like your pictures just didn't come out developed, maybe I'd think differently. But, maybe there's something to it, because if people are going to see it and then having bad stuff, and it's been multiple people over a series of years, maybe there's something to it. Maybe that something is just a little bit of hysteria and people, feeding off of each other, but I think there could be something to it.
But like the Highway 666 episode we talked about, like that hysteria can lead to people thinking and feeling that these things are like an actual real thing.
Well, yeah, you hear something
manifestation of things comes in too.
If you hear something enough, you start to believe it anyways. Yeah. So if you believe it, regardless of whether it's true or not, it becomes true to you.
Yeah.
So I think there could be something.
I agree. I think I'm going to go maybe like a 50-50 on this one.
Okay.
And yeah, I definitely think there could be something there. I definitely still have questions and doubts for sure, but I think this one holds something more that would make it be real.
I agree. I concur,
I
Doctor.
concur. I knew you were going to say that.
Now, Edvard Munch is Norwegian.
Sounds like it.
He was a Norwegian painter, and his 1893 work, The Scream, has become one of Western art's most acclaimed images. His childhood was overshadowed by illness, bereavement, and the dread of inheriting a mental condition that ran in his family. Mm. Studying at the Royal School of Art and Design in Christiania, today's Oslo, Munch began to live a bohemian life under the influence of the nihilist Hans Jaeger, who urged him to paint his own emotional and psychological state, or soul painting. From this emerged his distinctive style. Travel brought new influences and outlets. In Paris, he learned much from Paul Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. I guarantee I ruined that. Especially their uses of color. In Berlin, he met the Swedish dramatist August Strindberg, whom he painted as he embarked on a major series of paintings he would later call The Frieze of Life, depicting a series of deeply felt themes such as love, anxiety, jealousy, and betrayal steeped in atmosphere. Now, The Scream was conceived in Christiania. According to Munch, he was out walking at sunset when he heard the enormous, infinite scream of nature. The painting's agonized face is widely identified with the angst of the modern person. Between 1893 and 1910, he made 2 painted versions and 2 in pastels, as well as a number of prints. One of the pastels would eventually command the 4th highest nominal price paid for a painting at auction. As his fame and wealth grew, his emotional state remained insecure. He briefly considered marriage, but could not commit himself. A mental breakdown in 1908 forced him to give up heavy drinking, and he was cheered by his increasing acceptance by the people of Christiania and exposure in the city's museums. His later years were spent working in peace and privacy. Although his works were banned in Nazi-occupied Europe, most of them survived World War II, securing his legacy.
Wow.
Now, the painting we're going to be talking about is called Death and the Child.
Oh.
Okay, because everything with this dude is apparently pretty gloom. Oh, and I'm smacking the mic. Now, according to urban legend, a particular 1899 copy of Edvard Munch's painting Death and the Child, sometimes known as The Dead Mother, is cursed.
No, thank you.
Viewers have described the horrified girl's eyes following them as they move, and hearing a soft rustling sound, usually attributed to the eponymous mother's bedsheets. I don't even know what that means. When near the painting. Now, previous owners of the painting are said to have described the girl disappearing altogether from the canvas. That's creepy.
Okay.
Now, Munch's mother and sister died of tuberculosis when he was a child, and memories of that trauma were a reoccurring motif throughout his work. Munch was also influenced by the nihilist Hans Jaeger, who urged him to paint his own emotional psychological state, of course called soul painting, what I already said, leading to his distinctive style. Since 1918, the painting has been in the collection of Kunsthalle Bremen. Yeah, that name. Now, this one I think more than all the other ones, I'm going to get behind because this was a dude literally pouring his soul onto a canvas. Mm-hmm. And I think if we have talked about before about like your emotional connections to objects and stuff.
Yeah.
There's not much more of a connection that you can put than just dumping your soul onto a canvas.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe this wasn't like this belonged to somebody. Maybe this was just somebody's inner emotions just taking over and breathing life into it. So
yeah,
I'm actually going to say I think I would probably stay away from this painting.
Okay.
And it is sort of creepy looking, I'm not going to lie.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not something I'd want in my house.
Well, I think a lot of these paintings I probably definitely wouldn't want in my house.
I guarantee it. We have a painting that I think may be haunted of a little girl.
Oh, God.
You had to know I was going to bring that up on here.
Okay.
So the painting of a sweet little blonde girl that I shall call the Desparage of Megan.
Yes, everyone. My parents had a portrait of me painted when I
Commissioned.
was like 5 years old.
And it is so creepy.
It is really creepy.
It is so creepy.
And I know the exact picture that was done from. I loved the little sweater that I was wearing and everything. And the picture is super cute. Painting.
I feel like maybe that painting should make it into the photos from the show. It is.
No.
We need to put that out into the world.
No, thank you.
We need to let them know we're the most haunted painting ever exists.
No, sidebar, Stephen likes to take things down off the wall and use the nails that are already there to hang that portrait up around the house. And then I'll come home and I'm like, oh, God.
Take it down. Get it out.
And then he likes to prop it up against the wall facing out. So every time I walk by, I turn it around backwards. And he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's awful.
I know you don't like it.
Okay, so back to this painting. I think I agree with you on the emotional pouring into the painting. And I think eyes following has...
it's always creepy.
It's across the board, though. Like, so many paintings have that, whether it's haunted or not. You know?
Yeah, there's something about a painting that just always seems like it's watching you.
Yeah. And for the girl disappearing in the painting,
It's kind of hard.
It's creepy.
It's kind of hard to explain that one away.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I'm going to say that there may be something to this one as well. However, I am still skeptical.
I mean, I think when it comes to objects in general, it's hard not to be skeptical of everything,
absolutely.
right? Because all right, so when we do locations, there's a lot of stories online. There's at least stories, people telling you what happened to them.
Yeah.
But there's accounts of things happening.
Yep.
And when it comes to haunted objects, there's a lot less of that. There's a lot less recorded evidence, of types. There's a lot of like folklore and stuff behind them.
Except for Robert the doll.
But he's ongoing since the day he was made till now, and he's still around, right? And so people still have occurrences with him.
Right.
And they record those. But I think that's what it is just because it's an object versus a place or something super well known.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of recorded stuff about it. So you're going to hear only like a couple stories or maybe none. You just don't know. But
And I think too, when people like commission the paintings for themselves to like they have them for years and years and years. So they're kind of the only people that ever get to see them.
Yeah, they're the only people that are ever around them.
So I think that, kind of puts a damper on claims to things. But I don't know. I think there definitely could be something to some of these.
Yeah, I think the emotional pour out onto the canvas, especially for somebody who's not around anymore.
Yeah.
And it really depends on how they felt about it, because if he really felt connected to it, he could still really be connected to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're going to move on to the next one, but we're going to first take an ad break.
And now, Booze Crew, back to the spooky paintings.
So before we get into the next painting, I'm not going to say their name. I'm just going to read a little bit about them before we get into what the painting is.
Okay.
Some people will be able to pick up on who this is.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So it says, this man, I'll give you that, it's a man. The first line is, committed all of his murders in his ranch-style house. Typically, he would lure a victim into his home and dupe them into donning handcuffs on the pretext of demonstrating a magic trick. He would then, I'm not saying this word on our show, he would assault them.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
I already know.
and torture his captives before killing them by either asphyxiation, or strangulation with a garrote. 26 victims were buried in the crawl space of his home, and 3 were buried elsewhere on his property. 4 were discarded in the Des Plaines River. He had previously been convicted in 1968 of a teenage boy in Waterloo, Iowa, and was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, but served 18 months. He murdered his first victim in 1972, had murdered twice more by the end of 1975, and murdered at least 30 victims after his divorce from his second wife in 1976. The investigation into the disappearance of Des Plaines teenager Robert Piest led to Gacy's arrest in December 21st, 1978. It's John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, I knew it. Knew it.
Now, there is a painting that we need to talk about by this painter.
Okay.
This is a very short story. Okay, very short, but it's a signed 1990s self-portrait by the serial killer, John Wayne Gacy.
What?
Depicting his alter ego, Pogo the Clown.
Ugh.
We need to get one for you.
No. No.
Musician Nicky Stone purchased the painting for $3,000 in 2001, but began to regret the purchase when his dog died and his mother got cancer, which he attributed to the malicious influence of the painting. A friend offered to keep the painting, and soon after the friend's neighbor was killed in a car crash. A second friend then took it for storage and later attempted suicide. The painting was never hung up and was given to a local art dealer.
Wow. Okay.
I've seen this painting. Okay, oh yeah. So it's a pretty famous painting.
Ugh. I think it's just clowns, so I ignore it completely.
It's a famous painting. I'm almost positive you've probably seen it. You just didn't know what it was.
Okay. Fair.
It looks like John Wayne Gacy dressed up as Pogo the Clown.
Ugh.
And it's just him. It's just standing there. You know,
he's so gross.
And it's creepy. It is creepy. But I think it's creepier knowing where he painted it.
Mm-hmm. It was like 3 lines in, and I knew exactly who you were talking about.
I feel like a lot of people probably knew as soon as I started reading it. But for those who didn't, I just wanted to build it up a little bit. But, this is one of those ones. It depends on what John Wayne Gacy was putting into that painting while he was painting it. But
right.
He literally, the hands of somebody who killed that many people.
So many kids.
Could really, it wasn't just the murder, though. It was other stuff, too, that he did to them.
Yeah. The malicious things that he did.
Stuff that, if you want to know exactly, go read about it. But I'm not saying it on here. I want somebody's kids hearing it. It was terrible. It was very awful. But I think a painting like this could definitely hold some dark energy, man. Like,
absolutely. I mean, you think the emotions behind the man himself that led him in life to, in his free life, I guess, to do the disturbing things that he did to so many people. I mean, just the vibes alone from himself as a person are rough. So
yeah, it's rough. All right.
Pretty
bad.
I don't know. Then to take, people always associate paintings with emotions, regardless. It takes time to do, and it comes from the soul most of the time when people paint.
Yeah.
Paintings, no matter what they are.
Well, and they said that John loved to appease his writers, like people who would pen pal with him.
Yep.
So he would feed in, if people really were into that whole gross, I love the serial killer thing.
Stupid.
He would feed into that, he loved it. He loved it. He felt like a celebrity.
Of course he would.
So if you have somebody like that and they're like, I want one of your paintings, I'm a big fan. Mm-hmm. First off, you're super sick.
Yep.
And second off, if that's what he's got in his head while he's putting that brush on canvas, there's no telling what's going into that.
Yeah.
What kind of weird paranormal supernatural thing is happening there.
Just the intent alone, I think, to be doing that for someone because they love him so much. And
so weird.
Bleh.
I mean, it's a...
Bleh.
As a matter of fact, if you would like to know some of the science behind that, go check out Lullaby, the Fear podcast, because she actually goes in quite a bit sometimes about like that weird like obsession that people get with like serial killers and stuff. I know she's talked about it before on there, which is just, it's so strange.
Yes. Plus, you should be checking her show out anyway because Ashley is awesome.
It's a great show. We've brought it up many times in the past.
Yes. So. Lullaby, the Fear podcast. Go check her out.
Absolutely. But it's like a sickness, like a mental thing. But
absolutely.
I think if your hands have taken that many lives and you feel strongly enough while doing something like that, something could be put into that.
100%.
I'm giving it a yes.
Oh, full on yes.
Don't want that thing around me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am right there with you.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Agreed.
When his fingers touching the canvas, nobody knows where they've been.
Let's stop talking about it.
No way. It's interesting.
Ugh. Gross.
It's gross, but it's interesting. Anyways.
Moving on.
Now, the next one is by a painter, Giovanni Bergolin. Now, if I'm pronouncing these wrong and you know them, you can roll your eyes all you want. I don't know how to pronounce them, so I'm doing the best that I can.
I hear you rolling your eyes.
I can feel it. I can hear the creaking. Bruno Amadeo, popularly known as Bergolin, and also known as Angelo Bergolin and Giovanni Bergolin, was the creator of the group of paintings known as Crying Boys. Don't like that. Now, the paintings feature a variety of tearful children looking morosely straight ahead. They're sometimes called gypsy boys, although there is nothing specifically linking them to the Romani people. Now, he was an academically trained painter, working in post-war Venice as painter and restorer, producing the Crying Boy pictures for tourists. At least 65 such paintings were made under the name Bergolin, reproductions of which were sold worldwide. He was not always paid royalties for the reproductions, and in the 1970s he was found to be alive and well-to-do and still painting in Padua. Claims that he fled to Spain after the war painting children from a local orphanage, which subsequently burned down, appeared to be unconfirmed urban legend. And we are talking about the Crying Boys. And it just, it's probably going to go on to say a lot of the same thing, but it says prints of the Crying Boy by 20th century painter Giovanni Bergolin were blamed for a series of house fires in the 1980s.
Oh.
After prints were found undamaged amidst the ruins of multiple burned houses. I've actually heard of this now that I'm reading it.
Okay.
Research at the building research establishment concluded that the prints had been treated with a varnish containing fire retardant, and that the string holding the painting on the wall would be the first to deteriorate, resulting in the painting landing face down on the floor and thus being protected.
Wow.
So I think they just kind of debunked that themselves in there.
Right.
They just literally just said it's haunted. Well, no, hold on. Let me back that up. Not necessarily. Because, I mean, if you're a haunted photo and you're burning houses down, what better way to protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
Still think it's bogus, but it's just my opinion.
There's definitely not a lot to that.
What do you mean? There's a series of house fires in the 1980s, the golden years of
but it's also
human civilization.
The 80s,
Yeah. People weren't very safe in the 80s.
Yeah, you get where I'm going.
I do. And there was a fire retardant, like, varnish on it. So
it's protective measures, and
that's what they make fire suits out of. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say no. I don't. Yeah. No. I'm not feeling that one.
Can't for the life of me figure out why you would think that. It's so weird. Okay.
Strange.
I just don't get it. Now we're going to get in. We're going to go ahead and do the one that we came here to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it is called the hands resist him. It's a weird painting.
Super weird. Like when we were reading this in the previous episode, I just had envisioned such a totally different thing while you were reading it. And then going upstairs and then looking at the painting, it just made it 10 times worse, I think.
It's so weird.
I don't know. It is so strange.
It is not what I was expecting.
Yeah. I just had such an other picture in my head. I don't know.
Something so otherworldly when like the picture's on here while I'm reading this.
Ugh.
And it's just so weird. I don't know. It's so weird why somebody would paint themselves like this. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you have fun staring at that.
Oh, yeah, I will. Now, The Hands Resist Him is a painting that was created by artist Bill Stoneham in 1972. It depicts a young boy and a female doll standing in front of a glass-paneled door against which many hands are pressed. According to Stoneham, the boy is based on a photograph of himself at the age of 5. The doorway is a representation of the dividing line between the waking world and the world of fantasy and impossibilities, while the doll is a guide that will escort the boy through it. The titular hands represent alternative lives or possibilities. The painting became the subject of an urban legend and a viral internet meme in February 2000 when it was posted for sale on eBay, along with a description implying that it was haunted. Now, the painting was first displayed at the Fengarten Gallery in Beverly Hills, California during the early 1970s. A one-man, Stoneham, show at the gallery, which included the piece, was reviewed by the art critic at the Los Angeles Times. During the show, the painting was purchased by actor John Marley, notable for his role as Jack Woltz in The Godfather. Sometime after Marley's death, the painting was found at the site of an old brewery by an elderly Californian couple, as stated in their original eBay listing. The painting appeared on the auction website eBay in February 2000. Golden years of eBay, by the way.
Yeah, the very beginning.
It was awesome. Now, according to the seller, the aforementioned couple, the painting carried some form of a curse. Their eBay description made a series of claims that the painting was cursed or haunted. Included in those claims were that the characters in the painting moved during the night, and that they would sometimes leave the painting and enter the room in which it was being displayed. Also included with the listing were a series of photographs that were said to be evidence of an incident in which the female doll character threatened the male character with a gun that she was holding, causing him to attempt to leave the painting. A disclaimer was included with the listing, dissolving the sellers from all liability if the painting was purchased. The news of the listing was quickly spread by the internet users who forwarded the link to their friends or wrote their own pages about it. Some people claimed that simply viewing the photos of the painting made them feel ill or have unpleasant experiences. Eventually, the auction page was viewed over 30,000 times.
Wow.
After an initial bid of $199, the painting eventually received 30 bids and sold for $1,025. The Buyer Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan eventually contacted Bill Stoneham and related the unusual story of its auction on eBay and their acquisition of it. He reported being quite surprised by all the stories and strange interpretations of the images in the painting. According to the artist, the object presumed by the eBay sellers to be a gun is actually nothing more than a dry cell battery and a tangle of wires. Stoneham recalls that both the owner of the gallery in which the painting was first displayed and the art critic who reviewed it died within 1 year of coming into contact with the painting.
Ooh.
So, now, the thing, we had actually brought this painting up before, a couple episodes ago. And I remember after, I don't remember if we talked about it on that episode, but I remember telling you after that this is part of a series of paintings.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned it on the show.
They
I
are
think that
all
was separate.
just as weird.
Ugh.
Now, it says an individual who saw the story about the original painting contacted Stoneham in 2004 about commissioning a sequel. People wanted these.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
It's freaking weird.
Yeah.
Now, Stoneham accepted and painted Resistance at the Threshold. The sequel depicts the same characters 40 plus years later in the same style as the original. A second sequel commission, Threshold of Revelation, was completed in 2012 and can be seen on Stoneham's website. Several years later, a third commission was requested, this time for a prequel. Stoneham created The Hands Invent Him, depicting the artist as a boy who was behind the original painting's door and who holds a paintbrush, amongst other visual elements. On March 15th, 2017, the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada, of course, announced it had acquired the prequel painting. All three commissioned paintings can be seen on Stoneham's website page. The Hands Resist Him. In 2021, Stoneham created what he says is the final painting in the series, called What Remains, and it depicts the original painting setting as deteriorated and scattered, with the detritus of earlier lives and stories.
Interesting.
The thing that gets me about this is, like, normally the paintings we think of as haunted or stuff like that, they were done by somebody who's gone now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This dude's still alive today.
I know.
Like, he's still alive right now. He's probably painting stuff right now. Maybe. I mean, it's pretty late even in California. I don't know if he's from California, but still. He's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And even he's like, why do people think my painting is haunted?
Maybe because you painted a creepy freaking painting?
Well, but he helped perpetuate the myth by saying, you know, those two people, they died because of the painting, because a year, because nothing ever goes wrong in a year.
Right.
Got too close to my painting of me as a strange little Frankenstein-looking child.
That's so weird.
A creepy-ass little girl doll. And hands. So weird.
Yeah.
So weird. Everybody should
really weird.
Everybody should go online right now. Take your phone out while you're listening and Google The Hands Resist Him. Now, at first you're going to be like, yeah, it's just a painting, but blow it up on your phone. Really look at that painting.
We did.
It is creepy.
It is very, very creepy.
Now, I know that by how I sound, your first reaction is of course he doesn't think this is true. But I have a question, and that question is what possesses you to paint something like this? It is so weird. So you're telling me that you had no intentions of people thinking that this was a haunted, spooky painting, but you painted that?
But you painted it like that.
And all of these paintings are just as weird.
Yes.
They're all just as weird.
What, 4? 4 paintings?
I think 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's, what did I say, three sequels and a prequel.
And then a final.
And then the painting. You do.
Yeah.
Every time I think of the story, I'm like, oh, it's so stupid. It's so bogus. And then I look at the picture and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's not. Because, man, I would not know what to do with myself if I had to pass that thing walking down my stairs in my living room or, my goodness, above my bed.
Ew. Why?
That'd be a good place for another painting I know of.
I don't
The Destitute of Little Megan.
Stop. I don't know what would, I know like art has an interpretation for everyone, and
I mean, he very clearly said what it interprets. Like, I get what he was going for artistically.
But then to say, oh, I don't know how they perceive it as haunted. But did you see that thing while you were painting it? Like, did you paint it blindfolded?
I don't know, because like I can look at clown pictures all day, but you can't.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm not hating on the guy's art. I'm really not. But
sounds like it.
I know.
Sounds like
It's just really not what I'm trying to do. I promise. it's very apparent that it is a creepy piece of art.
It's the real world equivalent of like that meme of the little girl standing by the house fire with that malicious like little smile, like she set the fire.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, it's not real, but at the same time, did she light that fire?
Did you?
It's, I don't know. Cause like, again, like I just, every time I read it, I'm like, this is so stupid. And then I see the picture and I'm like, man, I am so stupid. Cause it's like, that picture looks haunted.
It does.
That picture of all of these that we have talked about, this is the only one that I'm like, that looks haunted. Ugh. It is the creepiest looking one out of all of these. I will say that what was that one called again? The gods, oh man, where is it? Man proposes, God disposes. Mm-hmm. I would probably put that in my house. So that is a pretty rad.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But this one, absolutely not. So, I mean, if enough people get that freaked out about this painting, again, did we create it?
Right.
Did we as a human race look at that and give it the power to be haunted?
It's a good question.
You know, so this one, I'm going to go 50-50, but I might actually lean in a little bit on it just because, like, did we make this haunted?
Right.
You know, everybody who's seen it, did we do this?
Yeah. It's definitely a possibility. It's a possibility with all of them, really. But this one just, I don't know, it sticks out more than the others.
Way more.
So I'm probably going to say for me, like a 70-30. And I'm going to go more on the side of, they're definitely maybe something to it.
That makes this one haunted. So people do not buy this.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't be that. Now,
please don't.
I would love to be like big old seal of approval and all that, but I think
how you said that so weird.
Big old seal of approval. But we're gonna do this a little different this week, right? So we read a bunch of these. We just pulled them off the internet because I thought it would be kind of neat, and you know things have been a little crazy here at Booze Crew Central.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But they will get back to normal. I promise.
They will, just not for like 4 more weeks.
No, they'll be back to normal next week.
I don't know.
You just won't be here.
I won't be here.
But to them, it'll be normal.
I will not be here, so if audio sounds a little off, I will be recording on a microphone on my computer in a hotel room states away.
But look, but we'll be back to normal.
We will.
This weekend was just, I haven't seen you, and I wanted to spend time with you more than I wanted to do anything else, so we did that instead.
Yeah.
Still had an episode for you guys. So this is the more intimate version of us that you're probably ever going to get.
I enjoyed this. I think it was very different and
sitting
interesting.
down talking is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But
so we hope you guys liked it too.
Yeah. And if you didn't, don't worry, we'll be back to normal. Now, instead of being like, is this thing haunted? I have a generalized question that I want to ask you.
All right.
We talk a lot about haunted stuff. But with haunted paintings, do you think that paintings can really, truly be haunted?
Yes.
You do?
I do. I think, like I was saying earlier about like the attachment that we had talked about from a few episodes ago, you know, someone passes away and their energy, you know, they really, really love something and their energy, you know, leaves their body, their soul, however you want to say it, however you believe, that's fine. That it just decides to stay with that one thing that they loved. And things happen.
But painters paint a lot of paintings.
They do. They do. But, you know, art speaks to everyone differently.
Yeah, I guess everybody has their one.
Yeah. So they're one, and they have their own interpretations of everything, too. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So what about you? What do you think?
You know, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I think I lean more into the side of if enough people believe it, does it give it some sort of life, right? So maybe not necessarily when the painter was painting it, but I mean, I guess it could. But I think more than being your traditional haunted object, I think if enough people pass by it and really throw that energy into it and be like, you know, that's haunted, that's scary, those stories are real.
Yeah.
That eventually it takes on this life force of like, it is real.
Breathes the life into it.
This is going to happen, and it's going to happen to you. You know, so, and then you get the people who do own it and they've heard it and they feel that way. So boom, stuff happens. It's like if you drive around and you are worried about a cop pulling you over, eventually the cops are going to pull you over.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm driving slow. I'm driving slow. They'll pull you over for that.
That gets you pulled over too.
So like, I think it's the same kind of concept with the, like, it's haunted. Something bad's going to happen. I shouldn't do this right now, but something bad's going to happen. And then boom, it happens. And they're like, it's haunted. Well, yeah, it's haunted because you made it that way, because you did all the stuff to kind of make that happen.
Do you think that in your scenario, do you think that energy that is being fed into it, do you think that perpetuates the intensity of bad things that happen to these people?
You know, I don't know. I really don't. I get what you're saying, but I really don't. Because I don't know if the life force that I'm talking about is an actual life force, or if I just mean it as a symbolic thing.
Okay.
You know, it's a life force because you give it to it when you see it, when you touch it, when you act weird around it. Not necessarily these happen because it happens to do it to you. You know, I don't know.
Quit acting weird, people.
Yeah, stop it. Stop being strange. So, I mean, but look, I'm always open to be wrong. I'm fine with it. I'm wrong. I'm married. I'm always wrong. So
you are not. I said you were right just today.
Yeah, but it was something about something so trivial.
I don't know. I think I was going to say something and it just totally
Right. This isn't getting edited out, so let the people know how we really are.
So moving on.
But I guess that's it. You know, haunted paintings. I mean, it just it's much like us doing this show. It depends on which side of the fence you stand on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, are you a believer full 100% like Megan? Then you probably believe that paintings can really be haunted. Or are you kind of on the fence like me, and maybe you believe that it can be haunted, but because you're making it haunted, and stop it.
Quit being weird.
Stop being weird, man. I keep dropping my glasses. I'm sure everybody just heard that. It's like the third time I've dropped them. But I guess this is where we're going to end it, and we have an episode for next week. Like I said, though, Megan's on the road, and I don't want to do the show with anybody else except for my amazing co-host. So I'm not going to have anybody else come on. We're just going to deal with her audio for a month, and then she'll be back in the studio.
Well, I am super excited to go, but I do not want to be gone, if that makes sense.
You're trying to get away from me for years.
No. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but I am super looking forward to and super excited about continuing on our
Halloween series.
Halloween week. Week. What?
Month.
I don't know.
It's a month. Last time I checked, we do a Halloween month. But we will.
But I'm loving this. This is amazing.
Yeah, well,
I'm having so much fun.
I have a good one picked out for next week.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You know, nobody wants to vote. I'll vote. I will put in the vote.
Email my part over, babe.
I got you. So I guess this is where we're going to end it. And how can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on Twittix at forthebooze, on YouTube at forthebooze with some numbers. But if you look up forthebooze, you'll find us.
Yep.
And you can find us on TikTok. I'm still doing them, not as frequent, but I am doing them. I will be sticking around on there, creating weird stuff that nobody else but me likes. And don't forget,
I like it.
Your spooky stories and stuff like that. Send them over to forthebooze12@gmail.com. We want them. We're not going to quit. We're not going to stop asking for them. We said this way back in the beginning of the show, and we are not going to stop until we get one every week.
Yes. And listener suggestions as well. If there's something somewhere that you would like us to do and to cover and look into, whether it be a full episode or we just do like a little mini part in an episode.
Or we throw some stuff together like this and we make it a big little, big little. Make it a big little.
we love getting those and hearing what you guys want to hear,
And don't forget, guys, we still want your reviews, 5 stars, preferably on Apple, but anywhere you listen is good.
Yeah.
It makes us feel good, but it's not really for us. We need them to move up. And I have one more thing that I want to throw out there that Megan doesn't know.
Okay.
But if you go to our social media, I linked it's not on Facebook though, so don't go to Facebook. Go to our Twitter or Instagram. I don't know if I put it on Instagram either, so give me a moment.
Okay.
But the Paranormality magazine was looking for people to vote on the best paranormal podcast. Ooh. And a good friend of the show, whom I mentioned earlier in the show, threw our name in the hat. And I would like, if you like us, to go vote for us.
Yay.
Because if we could be number one, that would be freaking awesome.
Yes, that would be so cool.
Shout out, Ashley. I appreciate you for doing that.
Yes.
So if you see it, share it, vote on it, do the things, do your reviews.
And what is it again? One more time?
It's the link to paranormal. Oh, man. Paranormality magazine.
Yay.
So,
oh man,
find the
exciting.
Link. Yeah, find the link that I posted, or I believe Ashley also posted it. So I think she did. But if you find it, it's on there. It says vote for your favorite paranormal podcast. We're on there. Go vote.
Yay.
And I guess that's it. That's all I had to say for the week. I don't know.
Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
The next one?
That one.
The next one?
1
year far away? All right, fine.
All right.
Bye. Bye.